What up, though? And welcome back to I'm Growing Man. It's your man John D in the building. So today's episode is inspired by some responses from people on my social media. So I wanted to it's like people are responding. Some people are pretty negative. It's the response about women not being protected. It's the reason why some of them make decisions. They've been compromised because their father was absent. And even if you're in the life of, there was some things, some messages missed because no daughter wants to grow up and say, "Oh, that's what I wanted to do." Life got to life, and because some man didn't protect them, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Because that's why I wanted to get on here, because I'm all about courageous conversations, and I'm willing to sit down with anybody that believes that the ideas that I'm saying is crazy. We just got to change the message. So I was just thinking, what if we change the message to like, hey, the reason why you don't have promiscuous sex because you only do it to make babies and to have intimate moments with somebody you really like, more than just what they look like or what do you think they can do in the bed, like whatever your fantasy is. Like, we're making bad decisions because of this idea in our heads. And when I say this, I know people could say that's pretty broad, but as a man, and as a man who speaks spoken to a bunch of men, only hit dogs will holler. Okay, so this is going to be as productive as possible because there are young people out here following a poorly delivered message. If you in high school, you in middle school, there is nobody that special to you at that young of an age where you could possibly alter your life. Nobody is that important to you. And this is from my heart to yours. I only want you to win. But if anybody thinks that you're supposed to be playing that part of the game at such a young age, that's bad information we're giving to the young. They don't even have a chance to find the potential because they're doing poorly written messages. Like, no kids. There are going to be people that tell me I'm tripping, but at the end of the day, I want people to win. And if anybody can find why this message shouldn't be changed, is crazy. Like, we can change the message. The problem is that we've been passing on messages without like really breaking it down. Like, is that a good message to pass? You know, I do want to say this. My father told me that it was okay for me to participate in those activities as long as I use protection. He told me that at 12. So, of course, that's ridiculous. But in my mind, that was just what men do. So I'm thinking like this at 12. Having that message at such a young age caused me to make a lot of bad decisions. And in my mind, I thought it was just something fun to do. I didn't know that the consequences would have been what I've seen over the years. You know, who wants the story that you had a baby with somebody that you don't even like for real? Like, we have to change the narrative, because when kids are participating in these activities, that's because they don't have any supervision. And when you don't have any supervision, you start making decisions that adults make, but no adults are around because no adult would want their kid doing these activities. So we're going to have to collectively grow and make better decisions. So as a young man, and people might say this is old school, but it ain't really old school. It's just like, what do you want out of life? This, whatever you think you're going to get when you have sex, you got to ask yourself this. And if you can ask yourself this and you can come away with it, go for it. But you got to ask yourself, is the risk worth the reward? So if you look at it, if the risk is getting pregnant, getting a disease, is it worth the whatever you think you're going to get out of it? And I'm telling you, people's stories change every day because of bad decision making. So we're going to have to make a better breakdown of why kids shouldn't be doing things like this. And this fast forward and going into, let's talk about adults. Like, I do know that there are women out there that would love to get in a relationship. And I used to know guys, like I know a lot of guys, right? And I thought certain guys would be ready for this life, and I was wrong. And so I don't even know what it sounds like because these guys were great guys. And to see how difficult this game is, you got to be cut differently. But in order to do well in this game, you have to know some rules. And the rules don't mean anything if you're following a poorly written message, like sex, back to sex. If you're an adult and you're in a marriage, before you get married, understand this. Men, for some reason we think like this is for like new couples, new relationship. This is just things that I've recognized. When you in the beginning, your energy's different because you guys are like really excited about each other. So your body's turned on. It's different. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think, but as time goes on, that energy dies down because it's a everyday thing. Before, you guys were seeing each other not that often. Now, you like living together, it's different. So when you do want to do something, it's got to be planned. And I know that people don't like this, but everybody's bodies are different. And if somebody's body's not in it, and a guy, specifically men, if they want to do something and a woman's not up for it, men get all crazy in their head. Like, what you mean? Like, and they'll find a reason to make sex important to leave the relationship. And that is a poor message too. Like, sex is not that serious. Now, it can be serious for two people who are mature enough to enjoy it, but to throw the everything else of the relationship away because of what you think sex is a poor message. Like, I don't know what you would consider a healthy relationship, a healthy sex relationship, but I do know this. If you don't have the other stuff to fill the relationship, like if you guys can't talk to each other, like, can you talk about anything that doesn't involve social media? When I say social media, I mean it could be anything. Because you should be able to have conversations with each other where you're learning about each other. Like, oh, I didn't know you thought like that. Why'd you think like that? Like, where did you get that from? How did you learn? How did you know how to think like that? Because the relationships can be so cold if two people know that that's what they're trying to do. Like, people think sex is this thing, and I grew up on it too, but it isn't that serious. Like, it should only be taken seriously for two mature people. But everybody who's just having it just to be having fun, like, you got to be really responsible for the worst not happening. And a lot of people are not reacting that way. They are passing red flags and creating new stories that they didn't even want. And I'm trying to say, hey, it is not worth it for any young person or any young adult looking to do something. It's going to take a mature version of you to like really determine who deserves your time. Like, I remember, and look, courageous conversations. I remember I used to get a lot of attention in high school, and when I went to college, I got a lot of attention. So I had this idea that women always treated me a certain way. I noticed that other guys didn't get treated the same way, but I couldn't understand, like, because I was immature. I was just like, okay, everybody likes me. So like, and when I say like me, I mean like my energy. They like to be around me because I was not in relationships. I like was friends with people. I was not in any committed relationships because my father told me that college is the best years of your life. So don't get in a relationship. So after I got out of high school, I was just going to be like, growing up, you hear this player music. So it was real easy for me to just take that idea, like I'm gonna be a player. So, but my MO was like, I still wanted to get to know you, but in my head, remember, my father told me as long as you use a condom. So now I'm out here making bad decisions. Like, I could have got anybody pregnant. I could have got a disease that just changed everything in my life. But that's what I was taught. And now I am seeing people still play this game. And it's a poor message. It ain't even as fun as people think. you can have some great moments, but just one risk that develops, you won't even think about. The moment will never be like, oh my God, that moment though, it was worth the moment. You won't ever say that. So we have to make better decisions. And we got to tell these young people, like, you can't even get to what you're supposed to get to because you want to start having babies at such a young age. I really feel bad for people who have to tell that story because it's got to be the most difficult journey and nobody deserves it, let alone a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got grown kids that don't know how to deal with relationships, but we gonna let these young kids play this game. We have to change the message. It's not fair that we set them up because we're not having real conversations. Like with my kids, we taught our kids that it was really only for making babies and intimate moments. So we kind of created this idea where why would you just want to lay down with anybody? Like you could get a, baby or you could get a disease. So they just thought like, yeah, why would you do that? So when I learned how they viewed it over the years, I was like, oh, we got to just say different things because none of these kids want to throw away their life for this feeling. We're telling them like this feeling is like worth like it's just gonna like make you feel better in life. No, it's not. This little funny feeling that people feel after they do it, it's not worth it. And like, this is what I want to tell all men. If you was cold out here, like if you really knew yourself, you could master that part where that would not dictate anything. Most of us can't master that. And we've taught, look, it's easy. We can't master because they kind of taught us that we're supposed to be in like animalistic and you gotta like get what we want. We're supposed to populate the earth. All of these messages, it sound good, but in the life you want to live, you need to make better decisions because I'll tell you this, not one of those kids said, I wish my father just was not going to be around. That's what I'm saying. We have to make better decisions. Some of us have made some decisions, but we can change the message and be like, yo, y'all tripping. It ain't, the feeling isn't even, look, check this out. I'm going to tell you this. Playing with somebody's heart, let alone participating in intercourse, is not worth any of the rewards. Like people's like, oh, I want to feel giddy. Like, why? Like nobody really, you got to really get to know somebody before you give somebody that much part of you because a lot of us are immature and I want to help change this message. We have to understand that sex should only be taken like with mature people. Like the intent got to be different. It can't just be for fun. And if you are under 25, I don't know why you would be having any of this because you're supposed to still be learning who you are. Like if you don't give yourself a shot of really developing into the adult that you're supposed to do when you go out to the world and you start playing these games too early, you have to tell a different story. I'm not saying that you can't have a beautiful story, but if you look back, you're like, man, I could have done it differently. I want other people to know, hey, you don't have to make these decisions to say, I'm going to play those games. Those games are not worth it. And I look at all of the people who had some crazy stories to tell. Like they made it cool to like live dangerously. Like life is already dangerous enough without letting somebody I barely know dictate what's going to possibly happen for this little cheap thrill. Like we have to be honest to ourselves. Like these women are interested in us for the most part because they want to build something. And I don't know well, I know that most men aren't that mature to do that because a woman will do that because thinking that's what's going to get them in. And that's some poor messaging too. Like, I just wish that we could come together and I guess this is why this episode is so important to me. My father told me at 12 that it was okay. About 14, I was doing it because I got tired of lying to these kids, telling them that I wasn't, because I didn't want to be a liar. So I did it. And after that, it was just like, oh, that was it. Like, I'm like, okay. But just think about this. What if she got pregnant? Like, I was 14. She was younger than me. Like, I got this information at such a young age, and I think I'm being responsible. That is a terrible place to be. And I see that it's still happening. Like, we have to send better messages. And I feel like you shouldn't be laying down with anybody that's not important enough to make those decisions with. Like, I know a lot of people gonna hate that, but if you gonna do that, it's gotta be responsibly. We got just all of these kids out here growing up in single parent households because we followed somebody's message and got led us to there. We gotta for real, everybody's got to play their role. Like, and I know it's very difficult to listen to people that say you should do this, but I'm telling you, if you are important enough, don't put yourself in a situation like that where your story could change. And then like, okay, I guess this is what God wanted for me. No, that's what you did. God didn't do that to you. The lack of supervision, the lack of people around you pulling you to the side saying, hey, you know, we could be doing something better than this. Like, you don't have that. So we have to change the message so that when we are not around, they won't be doing stuff like that. We have to be better. I'm really big on this I'm almost 50 thing because I can't believe how reckless I lived my life that I'm able to be here and say, hey, we can really change the message. But people got to understand the lack of supervision causes chaos. Kids are kids. They're going to make kid-like decisions. And you know what's so disappointing? When you have parents helping the kid-like decisions with the kids because they never got to mature themselves, had babies too early. So if you can't mature in a certain area because you got to be mature in a certain area because you got to be this person, you are still immature in areas that was not able to develop. So now we got chaos because we don't know how to say, hey, when there's nothing to do, let's read a book. Let's work on something. What is it? They say that an idle mind has devil's thoughts or whatever, something like that, where if you ain't got nothing to do, you'll find things that you're not supposed to do. So we have to be a lot more intentional with what our kids are being consumed with because them making adult decisions at such a young age says that it's a lack of supervision and that they think they're the exception. Like the bad things can't happen to them. And let's say this, let's hypothetically, let's say they get through it. It's going to create a terrible confidence. Like, you know how to do it and it ain't going to do nothing. Then it's going to be with the wrong person. And then you be like, what happened? You've been playing the wrong game the whole time. You just got away with it for as long as you did. How about this? Some people life change in the very first time. Some people life don't change because they got this confidence that like, okay, I'm doing it the right way. It's the wrong way still. Cause somebody getting hurt. That like I'm telling you, relationships are for mature people. And if you out here just promiscuously having sex because you haven't found your person, that's a lot of energy going to somebody that don't deserve your time. And I feel like you deserve better than that. So just understand that. And you know, I think because as a man, I've seen men at old age and they say things that I remember saying when I was in this mindset, like, she thick, she can go. Like in my mind, now that I feel like I've matured, like I've done that at my young age to know that just because it looked like that don't mean it's gonna be fun. It just looks like that. And a lot of times we get tricked with a fantasy and we try to recreate with something with somebody who doesn't deserve our time. And boom, story changes because we're taught that we're supposed to be like this. We have to develop the mastery of that part because that can be controlled. You don't know it can be controlled. Well, really, you should know. Like, you got the freedom to do whatever you want. Some people say, I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to take care of myself. I'm married. Why not? Like, who said that you are not supposed to take care of yourself? Like, it should be for making babies and intimate moments. And most of the time, if you want to do it, it's probably not an intimate moment because it wasn't something that led up to it. It's not like you got in the heat of moment. She's like, no, we can't do that. It's most of the times when you are just ready to go and she wasn't ready to go. Like, you got to warm her up. And I think we don't know the rules to that before we get married, because I'm telling you, sex decreases a lot. And if it is important to you, you're not mature enough yet. And there's going to be people that come for me because they say that that's important. But I'm telling you, if it can dictate if your relationship is going to continue, you are not mature yet. Okay, check this out. And you could be immature in that area just because you've the wrong message. The information I'm giving you is to help the relationship. It's not to hurt anybody. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody gets the benefits from it. Because if you go into a relationship and you don't know what you're supposed to get out of it, you could get those mistakes. You deserve better than that. And if you don't talk about it, it's the reason why I talk like this, because I'm gonna change some of this information that we got out here, because people are making bad decisions because they think they're doing it the right way, and it could still be the wrong way, because we are endangering ourselves with making poor decisions from the telephone game. And I'm telling you, if you think that there's a man that wants to argue that it's okay to make bad decisions at age 14, 13, 12, I tell you this, they didn't have parents, because that's a tough life to recover from a mistake at such a young age. And I think every kid deserves to get a fair start, to get, go to school with the intent of learning as much as they can so that they can make a decision what they want to do when they become an adult, but they still work on themselves, not get distracted by things that could slow them down, like sex. I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to do it, but it should be done responsibly. And I think if it's not done responsibly, we get all of these, this is God. God did this. And I get tight when people tell me, my babies was no mistakes. God wanted me to have this. Oh my gosh. That's already, we lying to ourselves. Like, that's not even fair. So it's already saying that these kids already been lied to. So they got this energy that it's okay to make those mistakes because God did this. That's a terrible message to pass on to kids. And if we as adults don't help people find things to do, it's like learn, improve, make better decisions, the cycle is going to continue. So we can pass on better messages. We got too many people in the community doing well, but we have to change that message. That's what I wanted y'all to know. Like, if we keep making it seem like sex is that important, it's going to be difficult to, well, I guess, as an example, we got to show why relationships are important outside of sex, because that's the myth. It's crazy. That's a real life myth. Like, sex is that important. Like, if anybody does their real research about people who's really happy and how they expend their time, you'll understand it is very rare that people talking about sex. It's really just young people or people that have a lot of energy. They want to burn off. They got different practices. But I'm saying, like, the relationships that don't want those things to play a role, they still happy. They figure it out. But if you think it's that important, and I'm gonna tell you this, you got to watch who you talk to also, because depending on the relationship, it's some misogynistic views that still be in practice, and it's really difficult to convince people because they use the Bible as the reason why things are okay. And I just feel like my wife deserves better treatment than what the Bible said, like, you know what I'm saying, or the Quran. Like, I feel like things could change. If these documents was written a long time ago, we could adjust them to according to now. But if you still practicing old school beliefs, the woman is not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And that's why we're here today. Women are deciding to go with peace because men don't know the amount of work it actually takes to be successful in a relationship. If we can change that message about sex, and men truly believe they're that important, they'll make sure that they won't waste their time with somebody. They would do the due diligence. But until then, I'll keep trying to change this message, changing the culture one conversation at a time. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.